Well, like I was saying, something just was not right, and I couldn't figure it out. Like I was getting, like there I was so happy and excited, and then it didn't fit. That was basically the problem. Like I was like, okay, no, this can't be happening. It's a binder. It's supposed to be tight. Okay, I can make this work. And I swear, I was trying so hard to slip it in how I was doing it. Okay, um, I'm gonna just put the camera down. Okay, so if you can see me, you should be able to, because I can see that little thing. How I was doing it, I had the binder, and I was trying to, it looks so stupid, I was trying to slip it over me. You know what I'm saying? Slip it over me, over my head. And I tried everything. I tried wiggling in my arms, like this arm first, and then putting my head in, doing this and that. Nothing was working, and it was pissing me off because, you know, there was one point where I kind of got it on, like here. Like I said, it was already so tight. Keep in mind, I got it on here, but it was hurting me. It was literally hurting me. It was so so just unbearably tight, and not only I was starting to cry, because number one, like I said, it was really hurting me, and since it was so tight, see, it wasn't easy to slip off. Just as hard as it was to slip on, it was hard to try to slip off. You see, so there was this thing constricting me, and I remember I kept slipping it up and trying to get it up over my head, and then at one point it was like around my neck, and like I had like an arm in too, so it was really tight, and here I am trying to slip this thing off, like this arm, like with this hand over here, and this one over there. I couldn't reach anything, and like I said, it was hard to breathe, and anyway, I finally got it off, and I was pissed. You know what I'm saying? Like, what? I was pissed. Because in that instant, obviously my dreams and everything were crushed, and my hopes, and I was upset. And then, of course, my girlfriend at the time, she was like, what's wrong? What happened? Put it on. I'm like, I tried. It doesn't fit. And she was like, what? And I was like, yeah, it doesn't fit. And she could tell I was upset. And she's like, oh, I'm sorry. I was like, yeah, she was really upset. And, yeah, I looked up on the website on the works. I was like, okay, what the fuck can I do about this? What the fuck can I do about this? Because I can't settle for this. Number one, I was pissed because I paid my money for this. I spent so long and so much of a hassle trying to grind up and save up this money, and then it didn't even work. You know what I'm saying? And this is money that I could have spent on something else. And more importantly, I didn't want to spend the money on anything else. You know what I'm saying? I wanted and I needed this binder because otherwise I couldn't go to school. I couldn't go anywhere. I couldn't go out in public with, my little, as I say, hilltops like poking out. It's just, it, no, that wasn't an option. And see, if I couldn't have my binder, then I wasn't gonna go to school. That was it. That was plain and simple. And maybe someone's like, oh, yeah, right, yeah, your mom would have made you go to school. Yeah, I mean, I'm pretty sure there would have been like a lot of arguments, obviously, because my mom would have been telling me, what do you mean you're not going to school, and what do you mean you can't go to school, and obviously, like I said, she was just even more harsh and more anti me, really, at that time, and having a trans son and everything. There definitely would have been more intensity and just more negativity. Because the more and more she would have pushed, and she didn't understand why it was such a big deal. You know what I'm saying? Why it's so embarrassing and unbearable to have these things poking out. You know what I'm saying? Anyway, um, yeah. So I knew that I had to get it fixed because, like I said, I knew, okay, if I don't have this, then I'm not going to school. Like I said, keep in mind, the school was going to start in just like a few more weeks, like 3-4 more weeks. And it had already taken 2 weeks for that crap to get there. And then it wasn't even right. So yeah, I was pissed. I went on the site, scanned, and tried to see everything that I could do. And I saw a way I could, return it. And, for like no extra cost, and shipping would be taken care of by them. And, I, returned it, wrote a note saying what was wrong with it, and I made sure that I laid out everything perfect, wrote out the exact form name of the product of the binder that I got. You know, all the slashes and dashes I could that was like within the form name, you know what I'm saying? Like I got everything right. You know, the color and the size and what size I actually needed. You get my point. I made sure that this time nothing would go wrong, because if it did, then, you know what I'm saying, it would have been too late and I couldn't go to school. So after all that frustration and let down, I sent it back in and hoped for the best. And I waited and I waited and waited and waited, and it was even more longer than the first wait, because as I already said, that, you know, there was even more like anxiety and stress, and I was worried because I'm like, oh god, you know, it's not gonna be here in time. It's just not gonna be here in time, and you know, then I'm gonna have to go through this whole thing with my mom, and this whole thing that I don't want to have to go through, and I don't want to have to explain to her, you know, why I can't go to school, and you know, partially I knew if I tried to understand, she wouldn't listen. She wouldn't want to hear anything. And I was saying it would just be like ridiculousness to her. That's a great show, by the way, Ridiculousness. You know, and it would just lead to even more and more, you know, mess between me and my mom. And like I said, I knew she didn't understand at all, and there was just no form of her being quiet and letting me tell her what the big deal is. You know what I'm saying? There was none of that. So I knew that this had to get done. And I waited and waited and waited and waited. And then finally, literally, like the morning, I swear, the morning of school, the morning of the first day of school, it came. And best believe me, every day, like after the first week that I'd sent it back for like my, you know, exchange or whatever, I checked the mail. I checked the mail every freaking day because I needed it. I need to see that it was there. And then finally, when it arrived, you know, I was like, oh, I crossed my fingers, and I hoped against hope that this is the morning of the first day of school. I hope that, oh, it has to be there. Please let it be there. And like I said, I got down there, and I don't know if I said this already, but I got down there and it was there. I was so happy. And I snuck it in, going past like my mom in the morning, because like I said, you know, she would have been like, oh, what's that? You know, why are you trying to bring that into your room? And I would have had to try to explain to her what she wouldn't have tried to listen to. You know what I'm saying? You understand what I'm saying? It would have gone nowhere. It would have caused a whole bunch of other problems upon problems that I already had, like my dysphoria and, you know, like my anxiety and other crap that I didn't need, worry and stress about. You know what I'm saying? So I slipped it past, and I got into my room, and literally, it was like 5 minutes before we were supposed to leave. Like I said, not kind of leaving, not getting last minute things, but no, we were actually supposed to be leaving like the next, you know, 5 or 2 minutes. I opened it, I ripped it open even faster, and I slipped it on. I slipped on the best way I could. And at this point, I had watched other videos of how to actually put it on, because, like, after the first time of it not fitting, I was like, okay, maybe I've just done something wrong. You know what I'm saying? But of course, at that time, the plain problem was it was just too small. I thought I was an extra small when it turns out I'm actually small in the binders. You know what I'm saying? But I looked up tutorials of different ways of how to put on the binders, and it was Alex Birdie, the real Alex Birdie. It was his tutorial on how to slip it on, and he basically, you know, he said, you know, you put in, you know, you step into it. You don't try to put it over your head. You step into it, and that's still the method that I use today. And if you haven't seen that video for any of my bros out there, go ahead and check out the real Alex Birdie binding for beginners, or how to put on a binder for beginners, or whatever. He's great. Great. He's the man, and he helps me a lot. You know what I'm saying? He's great. He's great. I wish him the best in life. You know what I'm saying? I love that guy. Anyway, yeah, I slipped it on. And of course, like I said, at this point, there were like 3 more minutes. So like my mom was like trying to rush me out the door. And of course, you know, I couldn't let my mom see me with this weird foreign thing on me. You know what I'm saying? So and she's the kind, like, she just, like, bust in. Like, she doesn't really knock or whatever. And like I said, like, we were already, like, in a rush. So I knew if she were to come in my room, there would be, like, no explaining. Not really. She, like I said, she wouldn't really let me explain much. She'd be like, oh, what's that? Why do you have that? You know, why did you get that? What's it for? We don't have time for this. You need to take that off. I don't know what it is. You have to go to school. And, you know what I'm saying? Just, ugh. So I slipped on as quick as I could, put back on my shirt, and then I left. And no, I put a jacket over too, because at the time I was scared that, like, I wouldn't let my mom see. And by the way, the first day at school with my binder, I was so happy with the results and how well it actually worked. Like, how flat I was. Like, I was so happy. I was so happy. You know how I remember I kept going to, like, the bathrooms and everything. And oh yeah, I'll tell you about, like, the bathroom situation too. How I got into the groove of that at my school. But anyway, yeah, I kept going to the bathroom and, looking at myself in the mirror and just, looking at my chest and, all the weird faces and everything. And anyway, yeah, man, it was great. It was great. It was really great. And this video's a bit too long, but it was just so great. And, like, for the first 2 weeks, I wore a jacket over myself, no matter how hot it was, no matter how hot I actually was. I wore a jacket because I knew that how flat I was, like, my mom would have noticed. Like, when I got home, I was like, first, I came with the system. I was like, okay, well, how about this? Before school, I'll put on my binder, I'll put on a jacket over it. That way, it still looks like I have my, hilltops out. Just like for my mom's sake of mind, you know what I'm saying? And then on my way to school, and when I'm actually at school, I'll go to the bathroom immediately. I'll immediately go into the bathroom. Then I'll, take my jacket off, or just during some time of some class, I'll just take my jacket off and reveal my awesome flat chest. And then I was like, okay, and then after school, immediately, what I do before, and this is like my mom picked me up when I didn't drive, I was like, immediately what I'm going to do is I'm going to rush into the bathroom and I'm going to take the binder off. Or I'm just going to have to, have a jacket on me. That way, my mom couldn't really tell much of a difference in my chest. Because, like I said, if she had, there would have been all these questions, and my explanations would have been things that she wouldn't have wanted to hear, and, I was just afraid that basically she would have taken away my binder, because of her own reasons, and partially lack of understanding of why it's a big deal, and, anyway, so that's my binder experience, and I just can't say enough how happy I was to finally get it. But literally, like, within, like, the last 5 minutes I had left of, getting ready and being rushed out the door of my first day of being back at high school. So I was really, really, really happy. And, that was, like, those are moments that, like, it couldn't have come, like, a better time. Like, it couldn't have, came through like a better time, you know what I'm saying? Like, that was just ultimate, like, breath of, like, fresh air or something, you know what I'm saying? But that was my binder experience. Yeah, that's mine.